Hello guys, welcome back to the ALRAZTA channel, which is still discussing Donghuastoryline, and where this time we will enter its second season. In addition to continuing Tang San's life at Shrek Academy, a lot will also be revealed about the story of his past life. The backstory of Tang Hao, Tang San's father, who is at odds with a large organization called Martial Soul Hall, will also be told. For those of you who haven't watched Season 1, I recommend watching it first, so you don't fail to understand when following this review. And I also still don't get tired of reminding you of spoiler warnings for those of you who haven't and want to watch the Donghua series directly. Well, without further ado, let's get started. After her defeat by Tang San, Meng Yiran and her grandmother handed over the flying snake spirit demon to Shrek's side and left to find another spirit demon. Oscar then immediately executed the spirit demon and began the cultivation process to obtain his third spirit ring. On the other hand, Tang San, who was exhausted after his battle with Yiran, also cultivated to recover his strength. Long story short, Oscar has finished with his absorption process, successfully obtained the third ring, and unlocked a new skill, the flying sausage. Anyone who eats the sausage will be able to fly for 1 minute at the speed of a flying snake. When Master Zhao wanted to invite everyone to return to the academy, Tang San, who had come to his senses, suddenly interrupted and said that he had also reached level 30, so now he also wanted to find a spirit demon to use as his third ring. Hearing that, a pleased Master Zhao agreed and invited everyone to find a safe place to rest first. At night, when they were resting, they talked about the demon spirits that were always being hunted by humans. Master Zhao said that it was getting harder and harder to find spirit rings now, whereas there used to be thousands of years-old spirit demons on the outskirts of the forest. In response, Tang San argued that it was all the work of humans, who were actually far more vicious than the demon spirits. The continuous hunting means the demon spirits will definitely experience extinction one day, and if this cycle continued, there would come a day when a spirit master wouldn't be able to advance because there were no more spirit rings available. Everyone was pensive for a moment, including Master Zhao, who thought that Tang San's opinion was quite reasonable. In the middle of the conversation, they were suddenly attacked by a giant ape-type spirit demon who was the king of the forest for spirit demons. They were suddenly very surprised because usually this type of demon only lives in the deepest forest and rarely comes out. According to Tang San, the giant ape is a nightmare for spirit masters. It's so powerful that even a spirit master with a Douluo title might not be able to match it. And it's even said that this demon is able to defeat other types of demon spirits that are much older than him. Not only in terms of strength, speed, and defense, but he also had the intelligence of a human. Master Zhao, realizing his limits, tried to negotiate because the giant ape demon understood human language. He promised to leave immediately and wouldn't dare disturb him. But upon witnessing the Forest King's anger, Master Zhao immediately ordered all the disciples to leave first while he mounted his stance to prepare for an attack. That was until his rampage knocked them all out, making it a good opportunity to escape. But Xiao Wu was unfortunately caught by the demon. Master Zhao, who saw it, was very emotional, really exerted his strength, and used his 7th ring spirit skill, which was his strongest skill, the spirit form of the jungle bear, to hit the giant monkey demon. But it was also in vain. While Tang San, who tried to save Xiao Wu, tried to chase after the demon, the result was the same. He couldn't do anything either. Deeply disappointed, they all took a break to recover from the incident. Master Zhao then apologized for not being able to take care of Xiao Wu. Tang San thought it was all his fault because, as a big brother, he couldn't keep his promise to always protect Xiao Wu. Still not giving up, he asked Oscar for a flying sausage to chase Xiao Wu, even though Tang San's current condition didn't allow it. His efforts were supported by Ningrongrong, who gave him a buff of strength from her protective spirit skill. Master Zhao, who was initially thought to be angry, asked Oscar to give the flying sausage to the others and ordered them to follow immediately to help Tang San. Meanwhile, the fate of Xiao Wu, who was taken away by the giant ape demon, wasn't as bad as Master Zhao and his friends thought. It turned out that the two of them already knew each other. Xiao Wu called him Ming. So basically, what was the reason they knew each other? This Xiao Wu wasn't actually human, but rather the spawn of a 100,000-year-old spirit demon that had evolved into a human. He then asked Ming to take care of him for a while, because he was going to cultivate to obtain his third spirit ring. Thanks to his status as a former spirit demon, Xiao Wu has the ability to absorb spirit demon rings without having to kill them. On the other hand, Tang San, who was chasing after him, ran out of flying time and fell into the forest before he could find Xiao Wu. On top of that, his condition was also getting worse because he was already injured. Unfortunately, he encountered a demon spirit that was a type of spider insect with a human face. Tang San was overwhelmed because both the strength, speed, and defense of the demon were very strong. Plus, this creature had a very deadly poison. In the midst of the battle, Tang San recalled Master Xiaogang's remark that the human-faced spider demon was a type of spirit demon that would be very suitable for Tang San, but would be very dangerous, given its strength and deadly poison. To make a long story short, he eventually discovered the demon's weak point, which was its face. When Tang San had captured him and was about to execute him, his head felt very dizzy, and his consciousness returned to his past life in the Tang sect. There he was reunited with the sect elders, who told him that Tang San had been successfully rescued from the abyss of the Valley of Hell. However, Tang San himself seemed to have lost his memory and couldn't remember anything from his new life at Shrek Academy. Until he met one of the sect's disciples, his mind was triggered, allowing him to recall everything.
你就叫我三哥。
He was then determined to return to his life at Shrek Academy because he remembered Xiao Wu, who had to be saved immediately. And sure enough, when he opened his eyes, he was bound by a spider web and exposed to poison that gave hallucinatory effects according to what was left in the target's memory. Tang San fought back and finally managed to break free from the cobwebs. Because he was so desperate, he had no choice but to use the power of the protective spirit in his left hand, Hyoshin's hammer, to smash hard against the beast. Eventually, after much effort, he was able to open the spider's defenses and immediately execute them. Before beginning the absorption process, Tang San took a short break to expel the poison that was increasingly spreading throughout his body. But suddenly he was surprised by the arrival of several people who turned out to be the dragon-snake couple, Meng Shu, and his granddaughter, Meng Yiran. Coincidentally, the spider demon was the third spirit ring target for Meng Yiran. They were obviously furious that Tang San had thwarted the spirit demon hunt for his granddaughter twice. On the other hand, Meng Shu was also very surprised to learn that Tang San was able to kill the spider demon by himself. Then Tang San presented his defense, saying that he was also forced to kill it. He was just trying to defend himself because the demon suddenly attacked him. Meng Shu, who didn't care about Tang San's reasoning, gave him a difficult choice. That is, if Tang San was willing to join her family, then she would let him live and allow him to absorb the spirit ring from the spider demon. But Tang San firmly refused the offer, because someone who has joined a family must devote his entire life to the family, while he is the type of person who prefers to be free without being bound by any party. Tang San was secretly preparing with his bow to plan to take Yiran hostage, because there was no way he could win against the two masters in front of him. Feeling that his offer had gone unappreciated, Meng Shu was even angrier, so he gave Tang San one last chance to make amends for twice thwarting his grandson's promotion. For that, Tang San was allowed to leave, but left behind one arm as a form of compensation. Still trying to negotiate, Tang San said he'd be willing to join their family, but on one condition: they had to help him defeat a spirit demon that had kidnapped Xiao Wu. At first, they accepted the condition because it was easy for him to kill just one demon. But their expressions immediately changed when Tang San said that the spirit demon in question was a giant ape king demon. They even accused Tang San of setting him up on purpose, because dealing with that creature would be tantamount to suicide. They even said that even a spirit master with the title of Douluo wouldn't be able to defeat it. Since the two of them couldn't fulfill the conditions he gave, Tang San was reluctant to join and firmly said that if they wanted his arm, then please take it yourself. When Tang San's position was completely compromised, it was fortunate that Master Zhao and his friends arrived in time to stop Meng Shu's grandfather. Master Zhao clearly knew his limitations and couldn't possibly win if the two old masters were united. He then tried to negotiate by inviting Meng Shu to talk one-on-one. After their brief conversation, Meng Shu's cruel expression instantly turned warmer. From Master Zhao, he now knew that Tang San was a disciple of Master Xiaogang, a brilliant man who created many theories in the world of Douluo. Therefore, he was willing to let Tang San go this time. But just as he was about to leave, Meng Yiran, who was still unhappy with Tang San ruining her chances of advancing, challenged him to a bet. If he won, then Tang San was forbidden to absorb the spirit ring from the spider demon, but if he lost, then Tang San was free to do so. Tang San agreed to it. But before starting, Oscar interrupted to say that the bet was unfair because nothing of Meng Yiran's was at stake. So he added a ridiculous deal. If Meng Yiran lost, her had to be willing to give he a kiss. Long story short, since both had agreed, the match could begin immediately. Meng Yiran explained that the match involved throwing several knives to hit the falling leaves. The winner was determined by comparing the number of leaves they could hit. Demonstrating speed, Meng Yiran threw his knives accurately so that each knife managed to catch one leaf without a miss. Seeing Tang San, who hadn't moved, made Meng Yiran confused, but Tang San said that he had already done it. This was clarified by Meng Shu, who said that Tang San had indeed done it, and he won hands down from his granddaughter. Meng Yiran, who couldn't believe it, checked for herself, and sure enough, all of Tang San's knives were perfectly embedded with 10 leaves each on each knife. A far cry from Yiran's 1 leaf per knife. Even better, Tang San threw the knives with his back to the tree without using his eyes, and only relying on the instincts he had practiced since childhood. Then Meng Shu expressed his admiration for Tang San for having abilities that even he himself might not be able to do. Tang San then approached Yiran, who looked sad because he had lost twice. Tang San tried to calm her down by saying that he could definitely win because he had practiced using the secret weapon for more than 9 years. He then showed her the secret weapon, which was much smaller but had the advantage of being lighter, making it very practical to use as a deadly weapon. He was also willing to teach Meng Yiran by explaining a little about his technique, which he called sound tracking. Instead of seeing with his eyes, he used his sense of hearing to sense every movement without even a blind spot. After the conversation, Meng Yiran suddenly kissed Tang San because she had lost the bet after all. Everyone was dumbfounded by the phenomenon, and afterward, she and her grandparents left the place immediately. After their departure, Tang San immediately requested a recovery sausage from Oscar so that he could immediately start the absorption process, considering that Xiao Wu also needed to be saved. Tang San's absorption process seems to be very strenuous, as seen through the extremely strong energy fluctuations that Master Zhao can feel. At the same time, we are shown Master Xiaogang receiving a letter of invitation from Shrek's head academic Flender. On the other hand, we are shown a scene of Tang Hao, Tang San's father, saying goodbye to a place filled with silver bluegrass plants to go complete his mission in a place he calls the Martial Soul Hall. After Tang San defeated Meng Yiran, He immediately began the cultivation process to obtain his third spirit ring, which seemed to be an arduous process. The scene switches to Tang San's father, reminiscing about his dark past in the battle against Martial Soul Hall. It shows a young Tang Hao running with Yin, his wife, who is holding a baby that is none other than Tang San as a child. They were trying to escape the pursuit of Martial Soul Hall's people, each of whom had the title of Douluo. One of them was a spirit master who possessed the power of a ghostly spirit in the form of a black shadow. With great difficulty, Tang Hao fought back with all his might, using his signature weapon, the Hao Tian Hammer. Even though he fought while protecting his wife and Tang San, he managed to push his opponent away with a blow from the Hao Tian Hammer that resulted in a burst of magma. But another spirit master emerged who was no less powerful. He was a chrysanthemum protector, spirit power user, who attacked using sharp and deadly spirit weapons. Tang Hao was still able to withstand these devastating attacks because despite both having the title of Douluo, the two spirit masters were no match for Tang Hao. Unfortunately, when they resumed their escape to get out of the place, the leader of the Martial Soul Hall came with extremely strong strength. He even called himself a god. Realizing that, Tang Hao immediately pushed Yin away first, in the hope that his wife and child could be saved first. While he intended to sacrifice himself with a fight to the death, a dazzling golden light was seen from the sky, signaling the appearance of the Martial Soul Hall god. They finally fought so fiercely as the culmination of their dispute. Their protective spirit powers were pitted against each other. It was actually Tang Hao who had the upper hand over the Martial Soul Hall leader in the one-on-one duel. But just as Tang Hao wanted to finish him off, suddenly the two Douluo-titled men united their strength to suppress Tang Hao, so now he was the one who was pushed back. When Tang Hao was on the edge of death, Yin suddenly returned to help him. Unfortunately, things got worse when the troops from the Martial Soul Hall also arrived to surround the two of them. In the end, Yin, who felt she had no choice, decided to hand Tang San over to Tang Hao and tell him to take care of the baby. He would sacrifice herself by giving up all his strength to Tang Hao, so she had to be willing to return to being a small, silver-blue grass. Because of the results of her training for hundreds of thousands of years, she gave it to Tang Hao in the form of a 100,000-year-old red spirit stealth ring. Tang Hao, who actually didn't want Yin's sacrifice, couldn't do anything either. Now all he could do was fulfill his wife's last request to take care of Tang San. Back to the present, the remaining seeds of Yin that he had sown had grown well in a meadow. Tang Hao then tells the story of Tang San, who has now grown up and looks more and more like Yin. He also told her about Xiao Wu, the girl who was always with his son. He hoped that they wouldn't meet the same fate as his parents, since Xiao Wu was also a spirit demon that had evolved into a human. Now that Tang San had many friends and teachers who cared about him, Tang Hao was relieved and didn't have to worry about him anymore. So now he could do what he had always wanted to do, which was to go to the Martial Soul Hall to seek revenge. After the farewell, he hurried to start his journey. The scene switches to the Sindhu forest to show the dragon couple Meng Shu admiring the greatness of the Shrek Academy disciples, especially Tang San. According to Meng Shu, Tang San is a genius child with extraordinary talent, so he has the desire to match him with Meng Yiran. On the other hand, Tang San was still working hard to obtain his third spirit stealth ring through what seemed like a painful process. In the midst of the tension, Xiao Wu suddenly returned, shocking them all. Xiao Wu's gaze then immediately fell on Tang San, who was struggling with such strenuous cultivation. An anxious Xiao Wu explained that this absorption process was indeed very risky, because based on what he had learned from Master Xiao Gang, at his current level, Tang San should only be able to absorb a 1,500-year-old spirit ring, while the spider demon he was absorbing now was over 2,000 years old. The conversation turned to how Xiao Wu survived the giant ape demon. Still wanting to hide his true identity, Xiao Wu was forced to make up a story that while in the forest, she heard the roar of a buffalo demon, which made the giant ape demon run away in fear and accidentally release her. Coincidentally, when she was thrown, she fell next to a 1,000-year-old spirit demon that was dying. Coincidentally, she had also reached level 30, so she immediately absorbed it to get the third ring. Of course, hearing Xiao Wu's story, which was full of coincidences and seemed to make no sense, made everyone very astonished. At the same time, Master Xiaogang honored Flender's invitation to come to Shrek Academy. Here they were talking about Tang San's development and his relationship with Tang Hao. Master Xiaogang revealed that not only did Tang San have one protective spirit, but the boy had also inherited Tang Hao's Haotian hammer protective spirit. The scene switched back to show Tang San's increasingly alarming condition. The cultivation process had reached its peak, but because the effects of the spider demon were too strong, Tang San felt extreme pain. Until suddenly, a spirit bone resembling the legs of the spider demon he absorbed came out of his back. Tang San's body was unable to control the power, and he was trapped in a cocoon. Meanwhile, Tang San's consciousness showed a flashback of his past life, when he was trying to infiltrate the Tang sect's most secret library to learn a forbidden technique. While attempting to climb up the extremely steep cliff, he recalled his days in the Tang sect, where he was always belittled, bullied, and looked down upon by the other disciples, because they felt they had a higher rank as disciples in the sect than Tang San, who was just an outer disciple. He also recalled trying to ask one of the elders for permission to enter the secret library, as he wanted to learn the Tangmen technique, a high-level technique of the Tang sect. But his permission was denied, and the elder emphasized that the library in question was the most sacred library that not even inner disciples of the sect could enter, let alone Tang San, who was only an outer disciple. With the skills and information Tang San had gathered over the years, he managed to sneak into the library past the guards. When he reached the third floor, where the Tangmen's secret technique scrolls were kept, Tang San managed to open the scrolls, which turned out to be known by the great elder Tang Lan, who was the highest leader in the Tang sect, as well as the guardian of this place. Tang San, who regretted his actions, said he was ready to accept any punishment, even if he was sentenced to death. But the elder saved him. Then he explained that the Tang sect was getting weaker by the day. It used to be the strongest sect that was respected by everyone. The reason was obvious, because the new generation within the sect was overly boastful to outside disciples, even though they were not talented at all. This resulted in the loss of many of the Tang sect's secret techniques, as those generations were not strong enough to learn them. So he felt that the presence of Tang San, with his extraordinary talent, might be his hope to transform the Tang sect and bring it back to its former glory. The scene switches to the present, showing Tang San's improving condition, and finally, the cultivation process has been completed. Sobs of emotion accompanied the moment. Then Tang San pointed out the spider leg-shaped spirit bones coming out of his back, and even he himself couldn't explain what conditions had actually occurred. Just as they were about to leave the forest, they were suddenly attacked by a swarm of small spider demons that seemed to be the children of the spider demon Tang San had killed. Everyone started to panic because their strength still hadn't recovered from the previous fight. Then Tang San took the initiative to give each of them his secret weapon, because that was the weapon he was able to use to finish off the spider demon before. And sure enough, Tang San's weapon was very helpful in dealing with the little spider demons. The weapon was so effective that even a support type like Oscar could easily use it. When Xiao Wu was pushed back and about to be hit, Tang San came to protect her. Reflexively, he took out the spirit bone in his back to kill the spider demons that wanted to attack Xiao Wu, and the rest ran away in fear at the sight of Tang San's rampage. Long story short, they all made it back to Shrek Academy. Teacher Zhao then recounted all the events they had experienced while in the Sindu forest, regarding Tang San and Oscar getting their third spirit ring, and the appearance of the giant ape spirit demon that had kidnapped Xiao Wu. Master Zhao also said that he was still surprised by Xiao Wu's story about the buffalo's scream, scaring away the strongest demon spirits. Then, Master Xiaogang entered the conversation and told them about the existence of a spirit demon far more powerful than the giant ape demons in the Sindu forest, who was the real emperor of the spirit demons. The monstrous creature was called the Purple Python Bull. It lived in the serene lake that was the center of the Sindu forest. There is a story that a spirit master with the title Douluo once went deep into the forest, intending to challenge the giant ape demon to a duel. But in the center of the forest, he encountered a spirit demon that was far more terrifying than the giant ape demon. What's most terrifying is not only its enormous size, the creature even understands human language. The conversation then turned to Oscar, who had obtained the third ring from the flying snake demon, and Tang San, who had also obtained his third spirit ring from the spider demon, although the boy still couldn't control it. The conversation concluded with Master Xiaogang saying that perhaps Tang San's power might surpass Tang Hao. On the other hand, we are shown Tang San thinking about memories from his past. He seems to be able to communicate with his past self, which makes him determined to start building the Tang sect in the new world he lives in today. The next day, Flender gathered all the disciples to introduce Master Xiaogang as the new teacher who would be teaching at Shrek Academy. Everyone welcomed him happily, especially Tang San and Xiao Wu, who knew him first. But during the event, Tang San suddenly shouted for everyone to move away. And sure enough, the power from his spirit bone went out of control, and unfortunately, the attack hit Ma Hongjun's arm. Master Xiaogang tried to handle the incident by trying to calm down Tang San, who looked very panicked. Meanwhile, the unlucky Ma Hongjun was in even worse shape because Tang San's spirit bone attack was so poisonous. He was taken into the room. Master Xiaogang then told Tang San to take out his spirit bone again to absorb the poison in Ma Hongjun's body, because only that way could Ma Hongjun be saved. Of course, this order made Tang San very hesitant because his power might get out of control and make Ma Hongjun's condition even worse. Eventually, after Master Xiaogang convinced him, he tried the event, and Ma Hongjun was finally saved. The next day showed Master Xiaogang again chastising Tang San. He explained that Tang San's biggest weakness was his feelings, which made him unable to think clearly and led to rash decisions. Then he told Tang San to demonstrate the power of the third spirit ring he had just absorbed. Master Xiaogang observed that his silver-blue grass was thinner, yet stronger than before. What's more, it was now also coated in an extremely powerful poison. Perhaps it was the fact that Tang San had indeed acted very rashly, but it seemed that it had also produced something extraordinary. Given that the ring of the spider demon was indeed a perfect match for the silver-blue grass guardian spirit, then Tang San also showed his third skill, which surprised Master Xiao as he could bring out a spider web. In order to realize his wish of establishing the Tang sect in this new world, he started going to the city to look for resources and materials needed to create a secret weapon. He arrived at a place filled with blacksmiths who were busy working. He then sought out the best blacksmith there, who showed him the design of the weapon he wanted. The blacksmith who saw it was confused because he had never seen such a complex weapon design. The chief blacksmith tried to pry information from Tang San on where he got the weapon design, but Tang San refused to tell him and emphasized that he just wanted his weapon to be made immediately by workers and with the best materials. Tang San soon realized that the chief blacksmith was also a spirit master. They then agreed to go to the upper room for a one-on-one talk. On the way, he observed that the blacksmiths working there were very skilled and professional. He also met the twins, Ti Li and Tai Hu, whom he had defeated in the spirit battle arena. Once in the room, they began to talk about the cooperation they would agree on. The head blacksmith then asked Tang San for a guarantee. Still not convinced that Tang San was a spirit master, he asked Tang San to show him his spirit master ID card. After looking at it, he was very surprised because it recorded that Tang San was already at level 29, even though his protective spirit was only silver-blue grass. Tang San then explained that what was written there was his progress after graduating from the academy in Noding City. By now, he had reached level 31 and had just obtained his third ring. Shortly after, the twins came in after learning about the new project. This revealed that they were the sons of the head blacksmith. They then told him that Tang San was the one who had saved his life in the spirit battle arena. At that time, an emotional Xiao Wu wanted to finish them off, but luckily, Tang San managed to stop her. After hearing the story without thinking, he agreed to the agreement with Tang San, considering that Tang San had contributed to his two sons. In the afternoon, Tang San was seen alone on a cliff, thinking about the Tang sect that he would build in this new world. Shortly after, Xiao Wu came up to him and asked what Tang San was thinking about. But Tang San lied by saying that he was thinking about his father and also Xiao Wu. Unfortunately, when they were just starting the romantic scene, they were suddenly called by their friends. The next morning, the Shrek Academy disciples' training began under the direct guidance of Master Xiaogang. He ordered Dai Mubai to come forward, then explained that Dai Mubai must be able to defeat Shrek Academy disciples one by one, since Dai Mubai was the theoretically strongest among the others, since he had reached level 37. The one who would be his first opponent was Tang San. But Master Xiaogang forbade Tang San to use the power of the third spirit ring and his secret weapon. This made Dai Mubai protest. He thought it wouldn't be fair because Tang San had a lower level than him, and besides, it would be useless to practice fighting if he had to limit Tang San's strength. Finally, Master Xiaogang canceled the rule so that they were free to use whatever their abilities were. After getting the signal from Master Xiaogang, the fight began. As usual, Tang San launched his attack first, using his silver-blue grass. Thanks to the spirit ring of the spider demon, the root cord was now thinner, but much stronger. As a control type, Tang San clearly knew that he wouldn't be able to win if he went head-to-head with a melee attack type like Dai Mubai. Therefore, he stayed at a distance and continued to try and control the fight. Dai Mubai's fatal mistake was underestimating his enemy, until Tang San finally had the opportunity to activate his third skill, the spider web root rope. And this time, Dai Mubai could no longer carelessly cut, because besides being strong, the web also contained a very deadly poison. With this, their fight ended, with Tang San coming out on top. After Tang San reabsorbed the poison that had hit Dai Mubai, the next battle immediately began between Dai Mubai against Ma Hongjun and Oscar.
是，大师。嘿，胖子别怂。凤凰附体。
Dai Mubai's first attack still held its own, using only its two spirit rings. But the attack was overcome by Ma Hongjun, who almost expended all his energy. It was enough to suppress Dai Mubai, because he did not consider that Ma Hongjun's fire had increased since the Shindu forest. The next attack was Mubai using the power of his third spirit ring, which, in theory, Ma Hongjun would not be able to overcome because this is where the difference in their strength lies. But again, he underestimated his opponent. Dai Mubai forgot that on Ma Hongjun's side, there is Oscar, who can continuously supply energy for Ma Hongjun. So even though he uses full power in every attack, Ma Hongjun is not worried about running out of power. Moreover, he knows very well what Dai Mubai's weaknesses are. Dai Mubai was a close-range type of fighter, and his long-range wave attacks only had a radius of 10 meters, so as long as they could keep their distance, their chances of winning would be much greater. Now all Dai Mubai can do is hold on until Oscar's flying sausage effect wears off. But even that won't be easy, because Ma Hongjun continues to get an energy supply from Oscar, so he can continuously spam his attacks from the air without worrying about running out of energy. At the same time, Master Xiaogang ordered Tang San to spar against Xiao Wu to showcase the skills of all three. Their battle began. Tang San was quite overwhelmed at the beginning by Xiao Wu, considering he hadn't practiced fighting with her for a long time. He lost focus after being hit by the Eye of Temptation, Xiao Wu's second skill. This became an opportunity for Xiao Wu to immediately land an attack. In response, Tang San also acted quickly to protect himself using the third skill of Spiderweb. But the barrier was easily broken by Xiao Wu, because his third skill turned out to be teleportation. When Xiao Wu was about to win, Tang San used his spiderweb suddenly, which made both of them fall into a tied-up position. At that moment, Master Xiaogang immediately stopped the fight among his disciples. Everyone was then gathered to listen to his explanation of their mistakes. Dai Mubai protested, saying that the fight was unfair because he had run out of energy against Tang San and had to face Ma Hongjun and Oscar, who were in top condition. But Master Xiaogang reminded him that in a real battle, the enemy would not wait for him to recover. After he went on to explain their respective mistakes, Master Xiaogang expressed his disappointment with the disciples' performance in today's practice, so he decided to give them a punishment. The punishment required them to run around the city 10 times while carrying a basket bag filled with stones, with no one allowed to use spirit power. He then emphasized that they were now a team, so until everything was done, no one could eat. Headmaster Flender had protested to Master Xiaogang because he thought the punishment was too severe if the disciples were forbidden from using their protective spirit powers. However, Master Xiaogang explained that this was not actually a physical exercise, but rather his attempt to see how well the disciples had bonded as a solid team. Well, that's the review of the story recap from Donghuastoryline. Okay, thank you for those of you who have watched until the end. That's all, thanks. And the last word from me is bye.